My name is Amy Morgan. And
Hey, Amy.
and I'm from Radar Redux. I'm here interviewing Mr. Kwame Kwei-Armah.
Thank you. You don't have to do the mister.
And his play, Let There Be Love, is opening at Centerstage next Wednesday, February 17th. And I'm just going to ask him a couple of questions. So just as a jumping off point, last night you were supposed to give a talk at Centerstage about arts and civics. I was definitely looking forward to going to that, but because of the snow, we were canceled. So could you just give a rundown about what you plan to talk about?
Yeah, in fact, I have the speech right here, and I suppose what I was talking about, what I wanted to talk about, and it's a pity that the snow let these things happen, right? I want to talk about artist as the fifth estate, as the as kind of leading society and being an integral part of its decision making. So, and in this context in particular, actually, I was going to talk about Baltimore, and that the image of Baltimore across the world is now firmly set within the world of The Wire. When I used to come here before, I'd say to friends, I'm going to Baltimore. They go, oh, where is that? And I'd kind of have to tell them where it is. Now, they go, oh my God, are you going to be okay? Are you going to be shot? So, and in a kind of way, I wanted to talk about that was almost artist-led by the brilliant David Simons. And I think there was another way that the artist can also augment the image of Baltimore, can even change it and rebrand it for the 21st century. So that's what I was going to talk about. Well, I kind of have a really strange relationship with Baltimore. I don't quite really know how I happen to feel so connected to the city. I first came here in 2004-05 when Centerstage produced Elminas Kitchen, my first play at the National Theatre in London, and we really struck up a real relationship. Elminas Kitchen was a great success. And then they asked me back, and the director fell ill, and I kind of had to take over the directing reins near the end. And so then they asked me back to direct Naomi Wallace's Things of Dry Hours, and then asked me to be an associate artist, which was wonderful. And so now they're doing this play, Let There Be Love, and I'm writing a play for Centerstage. So in a kind of way, it is my second artistic home. Number one, the National Theatre in London, and then here. I think that when I speak about art in the context of rebranding Baltimore almost, in a post-Wire-esque age, I'm actually talking about the arts across the board. Yes, I do see art, and I do see myself as wanting to be a catalyst for a debate about whatever themes I talk about in my plays. But I think whenever we think about civilizations across the world, we measure them and remember them through their art. If I say Egypt, if I say Greece, if I say, etc., the Mayans, it's their art that you remember them for. And I suppose what I was trying to say, what I wanted to say in my speech, and what I feel could happen in Baltimore, is I think that now that you have the eyes of the world upon you, now that you are known throughout the world, and those that may say in a negative capacity, I think now is the time to almost become the first 21st century city in America, one that redefines itself in a 21st century way rather than being remembered in a 20th century way. And again, part of what I was going to talk about yesterday was a way in which Baltimore has a rich intellectual tradition, and I think that there's a way in which you can create festivals of art here in Baltimore that can bring the world to you. Black History Month is, in Britain at least, under siege. It's under siege because many people think that it's made its point. There are two arguments actually. Think that it's archaic, and others think that Black History Month should be every month of the year. And those are two contrasting arguments. The latter argument, in terms of Black History Month, should be, History Month or History Year, I certainly adhere to. Unfortunately, the history, particularly in Britain, but also in America, of black contribution to our nation has been hidden and destroyed and distorted. And so there is a need, actually, for each new generation as they revel in their new freedom, in their new dispensation, to say, oh my God, did you know about so-and-so? Did you know? So for instance, I discovered many years ago that there was a huge black population in London in 1789. Now, as I was growing up, I mean, literally they say 1 in 4 of the population in central London at the time, and I think the population was roughly around 4 million at that time. But no, sorry, much less than 4 million. Forgive me on that. However, you know, I was told when I was growing up that black people only really came to Britain in the 1950s. So it's terribly important to keep digging, to keep revealing, and to use the conduit of Black History Month as a rather beautiful way of just educating the next generation and saying, this is the land that you are born into, and this has been your contribution. How it applies to Baltimore, I don't really know if I can answer that, except to say that Black History Month in America has played a hugely important role in my life. I would not be here right now talking to you if it were not for a Black History Month event that happened in 2001 in Washington, where they flew August Wilson in to speak about his play King Hedley. I flew over to see that. That inspired me to write Elminas Kitchen, which inspired my success. Let There Be Love, starring the wonderful Avery Brooks, opens next week, as you say, and Gretchen and Pascal Amand also are in the play. Also, the fourth player is Nat King Cole, because the music of Nat King Cole features. And really, it's a play about one generation of immigrant passing the baton on to the next one. In Britain, we had a large influx of Eastern Europeans coming to Britain over the last 10 years. And I began to hear black people and East Asian people speak about those immigrants in the way that they were spoken about 30 years ago. And I found that to be not only bizarre, but I found it to be slightly upsetting. And so I wanted to write a play that kind of looked at that, but more importantly looked at love. And I don't mean physical love. Alfred, the lead character in the play, is a xenophobic, grumpy and bitter old man. And he is gifted a Polish cleaner. And she teaches him how to love again. And so it's a story of love and immigration and generations passing on the baton. And I'm very excited about this production.